What if the greatest danger isn't being deceived by somebody else, but agreeing to see something your heart knows isn't there? The full moon in Aquarius on the 29th of July illuminates the moment we abandon our own perception to remain part of the crowd. The moon is conjunct Pluto and Pallas opposite Jupiter cazimi in Leo, and this is a confrontation between borrowed reality and the living intelligence of your own heart. In The Emperor's New Clothes, the fairy tale, everyone can see that the emperor is naked, but only one person remains sufficiently self-possessed to say so, and it's a child that says so. Anyway, that person may need to be you in the coming week. Hello and welcome. I'm Yolanda. I am a psychological and archetypal astrologer. In this video, we're going to explore the deeper meaning of the full moon in Aquarius on the 29th of July 2026 and what the fairy tale The Emperor's New Clothes can teach us about remaining true to our own perception when the crowd is telling us to see something else. Then I'll read this full moon for each of the 12 signs, so make sure that you stay for both your sun and your rising sign. If you have planets or angles close to 6 degrees of the fixed signs, in other words, Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio, you may experience this lunation especially powerfully, so stick around. Now, you probably know the story of the Emperor's New Clothes. So two swindlers arrive at an emperor's court claiming to be in possession of the finest fabric imaginable. This fabric comes with one very dangerous condition. It is supposedly invisible to anyone who is stupid or unfit for their position. So, of course, there is no fabric at all, but the emperor doesn't want to admit that he cannot see the fabric, and neither do his ministers or courtiers. Everyone is afraid of saying, of telling the truth, because they think if they tell the truth, it will expose them to be foolish or incompetent or unworthy of belonging. So the tailors, these swindlers, right, these tailors pretend to cut the cloth. They make this big show, of cutting this invisible cloth. The emperor pretends to admire the whole process. The entire court agrees that this cloth, this invisible cloth, is magnificent. Eventually, the emperor parades naked through the streets while the whole kingdom applauds. Everyone can see what is happening, but nobody wants to be the first person to say it until a child calls out, "Wait a minute, the emperor has nothing on. The emperor is naked." The child isn't necessarily wiser than everyone else. The child isn't even more educated or more powerful. The child is simply herself. She's still self-possessed. She has not yet learned to exchange the evidence of her own eyes for the safety of belonging to the crowd. And this is what I think this full moon is really about, because the Emperor's New Clothes isn't merely a story about vanity or deception. Those are the traditional interpretations of this. It is about the moment people become frightened out of their own perception. The invisible fabric is a trap. The moment you admit that you cannot see it, you risk being judged as stupid or unfit or less worthy than anyone else or everyone else around you. Now, the deception survives because the cost of questioning it appears greater than the cost of participating in it. Nobody in that square, when the emperor went out on his parade, nobody had abandoned their own perception by accident. They had been taught that trusting what they could see would cost them their place in the group. So this is how the process of dehumanization often begins, not necessarily through violence, but through this demand that you deny what you know in order to remain accepted. And that is exactly what this full moon in Aquarius is bringing into consciousness, into our awareness. Okay, so here is the chart. Jupiter is cazimi in Leo. Now let's begin with this, because Jupiter cazimi is Jupiter in the heart of the sun. And this is the sun in Leo. So Jupiter and the sun in Leo. Jupiter is being renewed in the sign of creativity, of courage, presence, and aliveness. And again, if you have any planets near these degrees, so like from, 2 to 6, 7 degrees of Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Taurus, this lunation is speaking to you particularly. Now, there is real gold here, and stick around for my horoscopes for your sun, your rising, and your sun signs, because there is actual real gold here, as in abundance. But I want to be clear that this is not the swindler's invisible gold. There is actual gold here. It isn't something you have to pretend to see because everyone else is telling you that it is valuable. Because Jupiter's gold is real, it's genuine. It may appear as renewed confidence, and this is the gold I'm speaking about. You may come into this renewed sense of self, of creative expansion, of, again, confidence. There's this opportunity to become more visible or courageous enough to occupy more space in your own life. But Jupiter isn't alone in this chart. The Sun and Jupiter in Leo are in opposition, of course, to the Moon, Pluto. So this creates a tension between the living center of the individual, right, and the tremendous psychological power of the collective. Let's get back to the basics here. Leo rules the heart. It asks what is alive in you, what wants to be expressed through you, what is unmistakably and irreducibly yours, what is yours. Aquarius is concerned with the group, the network, the system, and the ideas that keep us all connected. At its highest expression, Aquarius helps us to imagine a more conscious, awakened future, but its shadow is when connection becomes conformity, when networks become machinery, and when individual perception is surrendered to the collective mind. And this really, people, is what's going on out there, right? The eyes recognize what is false, but the heart gives you the courage to say so. So fire and air, it helps us to remember that what's the elements that are activated here in this lunation are fire and air. And when they meet, we have, Leo fire, Aquarius air. We have like wildfire. Okay, it's wildfire that is carried on the wind. So it's carried consciously. If carried consciously, this wildfire in the wind can allow your creative power, your creative fire, your presence, and your realness. The more real you are right now, the more real you are, the much further you can travel, the further you can go. Something true within you is going to be given wings. But carried unconsciously, the flame can be scattered so widely that it loses its center. What was once a living fire becomes a collection of sparks that are indistinguishable from every other spark in the sky. You are just going to be blending in with the rest, right? That is the choice contained within this lunation. Will the collective carry your authentic expression further, or are you going to abandon your center in order to be carried by the collective? There's a difference. Okay. Where are you not speaking your truth? Okay, so the deeper practice here is self-possession. Can you remain at home in yourself long enough to notice what you genuinely see and feel and know without immediately abandoning it when the crowd looks in another direction? Okay, now let's look at where this full moon falls for your sun and rising sign and what it may be asking you to recognize in your own life. Before we move into the readings for your sun and rising sign, if this message about recovering your own voice and remaining connected to what is genuinely yours resonates, I created a short course called Your Personal Magnetism Code. And through Mercury and Venus in your birth chart, you'll discover how you are naturally designed to communicate, connect, and attract without editing yourself to resemble everyone else. I'll leave a link below in the description box. Now let's look at your sun and rising sign. Okay, so Aries, Sun, and Rising. I hope you did not skip over the first part of this video because this lunation is occurring in your 11th house of groups and networks and the collective and the internet and literally what you are doing online, how you're showing up online, and how you have to show up as yourself, as your true self, and not be afraid of showing up as your true self, and not, submit or give in to algorithmic demands or just fit in with the group think because you think that that's how you are going to belong, how you're going to gain traction or, more visibility for yourself, for your work. This is definitely a warning. It's a full moon it's a warning for you not to do that, not to succumb to the temptation to, go with the group or with the collective. You have to stand firm. I mean, it's reinforced here again with Saturn's presence, of course, going through your first house of self-identity. You are certainly going through, as you know, a major identity shift, and it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy. I mean, this Mercury retrograde that we have just come out of, Mercury retrograde in Cancer, has been especially difficult. So it's it's a message to stay strong. You are literally the butterfly, or not even the butterfly, you are coming out of the pupa kind of thing. And you have to come out when you're eventually ready to come out of this. In 2028, by the way, you're going to be unrecognizable. When Saturn is completed, is transit through Aries, completely unrecognizable. But you are busy shaping yourself, if that makes sense. You're busy shaping yourself into this beautiful being. And it comes with pain. There is some pain. There's some growing pains going on here. All right. So that's the message here in this lunation. And your creativity is just, with this cazimi, Jupiter cazimi in your fifth house, it could be that you've had a child or you've discovered that you're pregnant now, but your creativity is at its peak now. Trust what is wanting to come through you, any ideas that are coming to you now. You want to act on those ideas. You want to create something. You really are powerful creatively at this time. Just and also possibly even a new lover coming into your life. It depends, of course, on your birth chart, Aries and Aries Sun and Rising. And again, if you have planets close to 6 degrees, right, of the fixed signs of Leo, of Scorpio, of Aquarius and Taurus, then this is really a transformational but beautiful, powerful lunation. So let me know in the comments if this resonated with you, Aries Sun and Rising. Taurus, Sun, and Rising. So this lunation is occurring in your 10th house of your career, your public your reputation, how you are seen, your visibility. And now it could be that you are working from home and achieving from home this great, the more visibility, more power, more control, more influence. From a position from home. It could also be that you are expanding in terms of real estate, like maybe you bought a new home or property. You're looking at property, and that's all being finalized now around the time of the full moon. Definitely, you are expanding in terms of property, but also there's something here about lineage, your roots, planting roots. It could be that you've recently moved into another country. Again, it depends on your personal chart. It could be that you have established roots somewhere else, and it's most fortunate. If that's what you've been doing, then it's a blessed relocation, if that's exactly what's going on there in your life. Um, there is an opportunity to earn more money or more money is coming in thanks to this Pluto presence, in your 10th house and the opposition to Jupiter, more money. It hasn't come without some, sacrifice, some pain, but certainly it was an opportunity that you grabbed with both hands that has made this possible for you, if that makes sense. So Taurus, do let me know if this resonated with you. Leave a comment. Gemini, Sun and Rising. So this lunation, the full moon in Aquarius, is occurring in your ninth house of travel and also higher education and law, order, religion, beliefs, your philosophy. So there's a lot going on here in terms of you could be traveling, you could be relocating. That's a very big possibility of you relocating, moving to another country, and a fortunate relocation if that's what you're doing. If you're traveling for a while now, I'm thinking something like van life, then it's you're going to really enjoy it. This van life thing is really big there because Jupiter in your third house, yeah, opposite the moon, and the moon in the ninth house. So we've got a lot of traveling going on here. So travel experiences. I do feel that there's foreign travel, so you're literally crossing borders. I think this is what's coming up around the full moon. What else? If that's not in the plans, if you're not planning to go overseas anytime soon, then what is definitely happening is you're either studying, you've just signed, maybe signed up for some course, or you're going to go back to university or school, and it's possibly in another country, I don't know, or possibly in another state, but I do see crossing of borders. This is going to be a most fortunate move, whatever it is that you're planning to do along those lines. Maybe if you're going on a retreat, uh, or your ashram or something religious or spiritual, that's also going to be most blessed and fortunate. Deeply, deeply transformational. It's going to bring you back to the center of who you are, Gemini. Let me know if this is resonating. And also, publishing is highlighted here if you are a writer. If you are a writer, wow, 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 wow. You've probably got a book deal. I mean, again, depends on your personal chart here, but you possibly got a book deal, or, your books are now selling. Good news in terms of writing and publishing. Okay, Gemini, do let me know if this resonated with you. Cancer Sun and Rising. So this lunation occurs in I'm a Cancer Sun, so it's occurring in our eighth house of wow, sex life, sex death, not sex life, sex death, inheritances, other people's money, bank loans, mortgages, that kind of stuff, insurance payouts, and so all of that can be coming in towards the full moon. You might be getting out a payout, you may be, a mortgage, you may receive a mortgage, whatever. That's possibly all happening there. Not, on the other hand, it could also be you dealing with someone's passing. That is also a very strong possibility. Someone may have passed, uh, and quite recently, so that there may be grief here that you are dealing with, Cancer Sun and Rising. Um, However you look at this, there is more money, Cancer. So there is more money coming into your pocket. Your pocket is being lined with more money, literally gold. So yeah, um, the circumstances around it, it could be anything to do with your actual work. Okay, because Jupiter does rule Sagittarius, and that's Sagittarius is our sixth house of service and work, daily routine. Your job, it could be your job just bringing in a lot of money, but it could also be, like I say, some sort of payout, insurance, inheritance, that kind of thing. All right, Cancer, Sun, and Rising. Let me know if this resonated with you. Leo, Sun, and Rising. So this lunation is, of course, occurring in your seventh house of other people. I mean, sorry, partnerships, your marriage or business partnerships. And a number of things. It could be that you are recently married, and that has transformed your view, or transformed your relationship, but transformed how you see yourself. Your identity has changed because of it, or you could have got into a business partnership. It really depends on your birth chart, the flavor of this. I'm leaning towards the more positive. There is also the possibility of some sort of breaking away. Because Jupiter does not always bring, Jupiter expands, and when he expands, he expands us also sometimes out of a situation, not necessarily into something, but out of a situation. But either way, right? So either you are married and it's shifted your identity, your self-identity, and it's been a transformative experience, or you have split from someone, a business partner or a romantic partner, and that has completely as well transformed your life and your sense of self. Either way, Jupiter cazimi, this on this full moon is a powerful, whether you recognize it or not at this time, a gift. Whether you recognize it or not, please, I keep getting these wonderful comments saying they're still waiting for their blessings. Believe me when I tell you that blessings come in their own time. So if you don't recognize the gift at this time, you will soon enough. Just let the universe operate in its own time. Okay. It could also be that you have a child. You find out you're pregnant, you're going to have a baby, your family is growing. That could also be happening. So your identity is shifted in that way as well. All right. Yeah, Leo, Sun and Rising, let me know if that resonated with you. Virgo, Sun and Rising. So this lunation is occurring in your sixth house of work, of your job, your daily routine, your health, your well-being. Your health could be, yeah. I think that you will probably have some health concerns if your planet's near 6 degrees of the fixed signs, which is Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus. If you have any planets there, you may have some health issues at this time. It could be related to, breasts, belly. It could also be your feet, your legs, circulation issues. It really depends on your chart placements. But this is temporary stuff. And, because it's a Sun and Jupiter, dare I say it, could be connected with heat. So if you are in a place like I'm here in Vancouver, we're going through a heat wave. It could be heat related. So if you're experiencing swelling or something like that, it's heat related. So Virgo, again, I'm not a doctor, so do not leave me comments. I am not a doctor. This is a possibility. Okay. Right. What is most how can I say, wondrous and excellent for you here is the 12th house is activated here by this Jupiter cazimi. So your creativity is at an all-time high, like really wonderful stuff. If you feel like writing stuff, journaling, getting deeper into things, especially also listen to your dreams, take note of your dreams, but tapping into your subconscious mind, writing what is like I have this vision of you writing first thing in the morning, right? Getting up very early and just writing down your thoughts. And there you will find gold, nuggets of gold coming through in those early hours, maybe even pre-dawn hours, dawn hours, but pre-dawn. In those very, very early hours, if you get up and do something like a morning pages practice, right, where you just stream of consciousness kind of thing, just writing down stuff, there is pure gold in that. So I highly recommend that for you, Virgo, Sun and Rising. And yeah, your daily routine could be undergoing a massive change, and it's going to transform your life. If you're considering changing your eating habits, for example, or you start a new exercise regimen of some sort, that is going to be beneficial as well for you. And, because it's a full moon, you may have already started seeing the results of something that you've already implemented. Okay, Virgo, Sun and Rising, let me know if that resonated with you. Libra, Sun and Rising. So this lunation is occurring in your fifth house of creativity and children. And lovers. And so what's going on here is that you may find you may meet a special someone in a group setting at a party, for example, or you could meet them online. Uh, that's a strong possibility online, social media, something like that. Um, and it's going to be a very transformative relationship. Again, it depends on your chart placements, what's going on in your birth chart. But if you have something within the first degrees, the early degrees of Aquarius and Taurus and Leo and Scorpio, then there's this possibility of you finding love, meeting someone new. There's also this possibility of you being pregnant, okay? Uh, what else can I tell you? There is, if you are online for your business, wow. I want you to be online. If you, I want you to be posting on social media. I want you to be on YouTube. I want you to be busy online because this is where you are reaching people, where people are seeing your heart. They are recognizing, seeing you as an authentic person and resonating with your message. And so, yeah, Libra, if you are online, excellent. If you're not, you want to be online around this time, around the time of the full moon and 2 weeks afterwards. Wonderful time. So Libra, Sun and Rising, let me know if this resonated with you. Okay, Scorpio, Sun and Rising. So this lunation occurs in your fourth house. And this is telling me that you may have moved or are thinking of moving, or you possibly relocated. That's a very real possibility, that you moved to another country or a new state. Certainly, there's some sort of change at home or the home. It could also be something relating to your mother. It could be if your mother's no longer around, it could be something to do with your mother line, the matrilineal line. You may have discovered something to do with your mother. If like you're investigating your family tree, something like that along those lines. What else is there? This is a moon as well where you are thinking very much about money and your income. And there is the very real possibility that uh, you've got more money coming in, that you're earning more money, that you may have got a raise, or that you are gaining influence or popularity if you have like an online business or something like that, but certainly recognition, and then you're earning money. Again, if you have planets or angles near 6 degrees of the fixed signs, Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, then then this is very much your lunation and you're aware of what I'm speaking about here. For some of you, it could also look like a lover moving in with you or you moving in with a lover. It could even be that um, someone older, maybe your mother moves in with you, something like that. But anyway, Scorpio, Sun and Rising, let me know if this is resonating with you. Okay, Sagittarius, Sun and Rising. So this lunation occurs in your third house of communication, of siblings, of your immediate environment, your community, and also aunts and uncles. So that may all be coming into your life, or about this, you're aware of it at the moment, you're dealing with your siblings or your uncles, aunts, cousins, things like that. There's interaction there. I do strongly feel that a woman again, either in your family, a sibling or an aunt, a cousin or even a neighbor is very much involved in this lunation. And what do I mean by this? It could be that it's because you have relocated, or a sibling could be visiting you, a sister could be staying with you. It's a short visit. Maybe the sisters come from overseas, or it could be a cousin that's visiting, or you are visiting cousins because there's this possibility that you are overseas and you're traveling at the moment. Um, what else is going on here? there could even be discussions around improving your home, renovating, like a complete transformation. That's a possibility as well. And, it could also be something to do with a surprise, unexpected event around a spouse, a partner, business partner, or a romantic partner that has instigated this sudden moving. You may have to move suddenly, you have to find a new place, or you've asked your ex to relocate, but there's some sort of you having to move quite unexpectedly. But I do, if you're considering moving overseas or considering relocating, like crossing borders. And I think this is a specific, again, it depends on your chart positions, but it's almost like if you do move now, at this time towards the full moon in Aquarius on the 29th, you're probably just going to move temporarily somewhere close, right, within your neighborhood. Anyway, let me know, Sagittarius, Sun and Rising, if this is resonating with you. Capricorn, Sun and Rising. So this lunation is occurring in your second house of income, and this is very much a money lunation for you. This full moon is bringing money. So good news, Capricorn, Sun and Rising. You're earning money. Money's flowing into your bank account, or a sudden, a large amount of money has come your way. An unexpected bonus or an inheritance or insurance payout or pension or something like that. But the money is flowing into your bank account, Capricorn's Sun and Rising. And let's see what it's also doing here. What else is being highlighted here? It could also be something to do with a recent contract or movement. There's now sudden movement. So if you were expecting to hear something about a proposal that you put in, for example, and you wanted to know if this proposal had been accepted, if you're expecting an answer from a prospective employer, that kind of thing, it's now you've got it. Just before the full moon, this will come in now, a contract, and you will have a contract, an agreement in place. And yeah, this is a wonderful lunation for you, Capricorn, Sun and Rising. Let me know if this is resonating with you. Aquarius, Sun and Rising. So this lunation is occurring in your house, and I'm an Aquarius rising, so this is our our full moon. So you want to think back to when the moon was new in Aquarius earlier this year, which is, I think it was towards late January, because whatever you started then is coming into fruition now. It's being completed now. So whatever was going on there, and it has something to do with communicating, with maybe writing a book, maybe a course, a workshop that you designed, maybe something to do with social media. It could even be a move. You could find that you recently moved or are settled in a new place, and you started thinking about moving in January of this year, and now that's all happened and you've moved into a new place. It could even be a short journey that you planned as far back, as January, and now you're on this short trip. It's a local trip, it's not, you're not crossing borders. So that could be happening for you now as well. This lunation is actually an excellent time for partnerships for you. You may be thinking of marriage. You may feel you may be committing to someone. Someone may, your partner, your lover, whatever, has now proposed or something like that, or you're considering getting into a business partnership. This is a wonderful lunation for that, very blessed. However, it depends on your chart placements, because Sometimes when Jupiter is cruising through the seventh house, it also means the departure of someone, a relationship ends, and it's usually for the best for all parties involved. Um, okay, so what else is going on here? Yeah, and things are moving forward on the work front. I mean, if business slowed down for you at all, things are now progressing, things are moving forward, Aquarius, Sun and Rising. So yeah, let me know in the comments if this resonated with you. Pisces, Sun and Rising. So this lunation is occurring in your 12th house, which is the house of, psychological stuff, the shadow, um, secrets, hidden things, but also it's a very creative house. So I've got this you're probably working on a creative project, and it's part of your day-to-day work or your daily routine at this time. I kind of see you maybe journaling. Maybe this is a new practice. You get up early, you're journaling, you're writing down, like stream of consciousness stuff. You're just writing down your thoughts, your dreams. Your dreams, pay attention to your dreams, Pisces, Sun and Rising. There is a lot of juiciness, lots of wonderful information there in your dreams. You are definitely being guided via your dreams, but also guided by the spirit world. You may be doing shadow work, and that would be good for you right now. You may be in therapy, and if you have been considering getting into therapy or counseling or even getting a coach, this is a good time to do so, Pisces, Sun and Rising. And it's all going to come towards this full moon. You're going to decide on this and then complete this action, right? So if you've been thinking about it, you're actually going to do something about it. You're going to complete this action. This is a very creative moon for you, though, Pisces, Sun and Rising. Let me know in the comments. There's a lot of dreaming and writing and self-expression and painting and creating stuff, hobbies. You're very busy with your hobbies. That's bringing you joy. I'm really seeing that, and the hobbies are somehow just making your heart happy, right? It's just bringing out the best of you, and it's becoming part of your daily routine. And of course, Jupiter cruising through your sixth house is encouraging you to do this, to make a hobby that really makes your heart glad. Think back to when you were a child, what you enjoyed doing as a child, drawing, painting, those kind of things. Bring that back if you haven't brought it back, and start doing more of that. Okay, Pisces, Sun and Rising. Let me know if this resonated with you. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Please remember that these readings offer only one layer of the story. Your birth chart can show us precisely where this full moon is illuminating a pattern. It can also show you what Jupiter's opening up for you and how this moment fits into the larger season of your life. So if you are standing at a threshold and would like personal guidance, you can book a reading with me through the link below in my description box. And before you go, do let me know in the comments, where in your life are you being asked to trust what your heart already knows. Thank you for being here.